Well, good morning, and welcome to Heartland Community Church. I'm Nick Proud. I'm just one of the members here. I was asked to speak this morning, share a little message, and I was kind of excited about it at first. I was joking as I came in. I noticed that Angela's dad, who's a pastor, is here. Originally, I thought, hey, July 5th, no one's going to show up. I'm going to be all right. It's going to be a pretty empty crowd. But then he shows up, and now I feel like I've got a certain level or a certain standard I have to try to achieve today. So maybe I can step up that game a little bit. I would ask today, and this will kind of tie into the message a little later on. I know Adam had to check in before with Facebook or Twitter, whatever it might be. So as I go through my message today, if there's anything out there that strikes you or is interesting or something, put it out there. I think remind people that they should be here on a Sunday morning, and we'll connect into that later on. So Independence Day, it was interesting. The last few times I've had the chance to speak, I actually had thought of something in advance, and then I got a date to speak. This time I got a date to speak, and then I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to talk about? Which was a little different feeling, because I had to really think about how can I be inspired. And Steph and I had a chance to speak at a conference in Philadelphia, and we were out there, and you got to see the historical sites, and thinking about July 5th, and thinking of all these things, and there's a lot of patriotic stuff there, where it's this giant flag. See that huge flag? It's 2 stories tall. It's in Macy's there. And they just had to take a picture of it and see this huge flag. It's probably one of the biggest flags I had seen. And then the Liberty Bell. And that symbol of the Liberty Bell that so many times it's been rung to symbolize some sort of freedom or independence. That was one of the main things it's there for. It says, proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. So we had this Liberty Bell. It's just an interesting thing, and it makes you then think about July 4th, because July 4th is a great celebration. We do all sorts of fun stuff on July 4th, don't we? Towns just blow it up. There's like these small little towns are going to light fireworks that light up like people can see 3 states away. But they do exciting stuff on July 4th, and it makes you think about independence. So here's our interactive part today, okay? I want you to think about your July 4th weekend. And I've got some questions for you that I want either, if you can be shy and kind of go with a little, yeah, I did that. Or, like, if you want to be enthusiastic, like I'm anticipating Adam up here to be really enthusiastic, and be like, woo, yeah, I did that. Or something really exciting. Or maybe you can just give me a little head nod, if that's more of your thing. So here's our first question, okay? Did you go to a 4th of July parade? Give me some sort. We got a hand? Oh, yeah. We got some 4th of July parades. This one's always exciting. Did you eat a hot dog or hamburger? I should have put the brats in. We had a discussion about these skinless brats that you get in Oski. I really think we missed out on something there. I should have put that and/or skinless brat. I don't think any of us ate as many hot dogs as the winners in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, though. Another 4th of July tradition. Did you watch July 4th fireworks? Yeah, that's always exciting. Or in some cases, and some of you may have saw the picture Steph posted of me where I was lighting my own. And so I'm pretty excited. I lit some illegal fireworks and I didn't get caught. In our neighborhood, there's houses around, but no one really seemed to mind. All right, next one. Did you spend time with family or friends? I love Facebook. I can steal pictures of people. Yeah, it's great. You spend time with family or friends. There's all these things. When we have our July 4th weekend, there's celebrations all around. There's opportunities to interact with one another. There's great times to be had by a lot of different people. But one thing that always goes on when we have all these opportunities, this next question I'm betting I'm going to get a different response. Let's go ahead and throw it up there. In the past week, have you talked to someone about your church or faith? Ooh. We got a couple woos. But it's not as enthusiastic. It's not as celebrated of an event. I know I find it difficult sometimes within my job, or in my world, finding those opportunities. And I think this is something that we need to talk about a little bit, and it'll connect in later into my message this morning. But let's go back to our theme of July 4th, Independence Day. So the next slide kind of gives you a definition of Independence Day. It says Independence Day, commonly known as the 4th of July, or July 4th, is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the adoption Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, declaring independence from Great Britain. And I got thinking about this as, being in Philadelphia, which was like the original Washington, D.C., that's where historical stuff happened. To then really thinking about all these factors in independence and thinking about that room full of people that are making this decision like, hey, you know what, we're done with Great Britain. We're going to make our own country. I'm sure there was a lot of emotions in that room. A lot of feelings. Nervous, scared, anxious, excited, all sorts of feelings building up. But I got to thinking, I think there's one thing that probably had to happen within that room, in that video that we showed earlier on, one nation under God, There had to be a lot of strength and faith in that room to move forward. And I think that's a situation that can apply to a lot of different situations. Strength and faith. Matt posed for a picture for me for strength. He was getting a quick workout in. It was really great. But it takes a certain amount of strength and faith to really believe that something can happen. We have to have great strength. And it's not just physical strength. But boy, just that strength, that inner strength and faith to believe that something can happen, that greatness is ahead, that something great is in our future. The Bible's full of all sorts of stories dealing with strength and faith. I picked some of the most common ones that even kids probably can recognize. And I put little cute clip arts with them. We've got the simple story of David and Goliath. He had to have great strength and faith in his ability that God was going to protect him as he walked out there against this ginormous person with just his slingshot saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to be protected, I can make this happen. Or Samson, who had to believe that even lacking his hair, he could still do amazing feats and have the strength and faith to do that. Or Daniel, I thought that one was really cute, just kind of just chilling with the lions there, being thrown into the lion's den and thinking that everything would be okay. So I pulled into one other kind of common Bible story to illustrate this idea of strength and faith. Okay. So our next, we talk about three individuals, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I think their story is a great story of strength and faith. This comes from Daniel 12:27 is the full, kind of, most of the story of it. And I've kind of pulled out some pieces in here for us this morning. It's interesting because, Nebuchadnezzar was the king at the time, and he's putting out all these golden idols and all these gods that they should be worshiping, and all these people other than the God that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego believe in, our God. And he's saying, hey, you need to be worshiping these people, you need to be worshiping. And then word gets out to Nebuchadnezzar that, oh no, that these three aren't. And he's kind of ticked off. He's like, hey, I said that you should be worshiping the gods that I'm telling you to, my idols, these gods, these golden statues. And he's saying, and these three are saying, no, we're good. We're going to worship our God. So he gets brought in front of them. That's where I'll read a little bit of the verse here. Picking up at verse 19. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And his attitude towards them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual and commanded them, of the strongest soldiers in his army, to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. See, what made him really mad was he was telling them, he's like, hey, you're supposed to be worshiping these gods. And they're like, no, we're good. We like our God. And then this made him even angrier. And they didn't even argue it. They didn't dispute that, they weren't going to worship these gods. They didn't even dispute it. I got thinking about this. If I had the biggest soldiers coming to try to tie me up, I'm going to put on one heck of a fight. I don't know about all you. I'm not just going to be like, hey, let's go. Let's tie me up. I'm good with this. Then I'm going to get tied up and I'm going to get thrown in this furnace, this giant, pizza oven that's 7 times hotter than what it normally is. That doesn't sound to me like something I would just walk into. But think about the strength and faith that these guys had in that situation. To be able to sit there and say, all right, God, here we go. I'm going to believe in it enough that I'm going to walk into this fiery furnace. And this is where it gets interesting, because then it goes on. So they get thrown in the furnace, and then all of a sudden, Nebuchadnezzar, he said, picking up here, look, I see 4 men walking around the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like the son of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So then they walked out. And that's just an amazing, think about this. They got thrown in there. They did it without any dispute, without any debate. They thrown in. And now they're going to walk out, saved by the God. That image, you can kind of see in that picture, that 4th body there. There's all sorts of images, if you look it up, of 4 bodies in this blazing furnace. Just imagine that level of strength and faith. And that's unbelievable. That's uncompared to anything that we probably have to deal with, and some examples I'm going to share in a little bit of things that we have to deal with in our own lives of strength and faith. But can you imagine that? Then it goes on. It ends this story with verse 28. And Nebuchadnezzar kind of has a change of his own heart because he's seen this miracle happen in front of him, this amazing act. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any other god except their own God." Think about it. He's even recognizing this, and he's starting to recognize that there is such a power in this God. He said in that earlier verse 2, where he talked at the end of that last verse about, come out, Most High God, come out, come here. It's interesting to think about that level of strength and to know that in that whole process, as they went against these king commands, that now, God was with them throughout it. God kept them safe. And I started thinking about, what are some examples in our lives, common examples, that strength and faith come up. So, of course, my mind works a little differently at times. I thought of something really odd. So I started thinking of maybe that first date. Let's go on to the next slide here. You all remember these moments. You're asking someone out on a date. I was thinking back, I was reflecting on my days in junior high, my big old glasses, my more roundness, and that first time I asked a girl out, and there's always that apprehension of the whole thing. You're sitting there, I'm pretty certain I wrote a note, because it was, we didn't have any fancy phones or anything, so I wrote a note. Yes, no, and I know I got the dreaded maybe. So then the anxiousness kind of just drifted on, because you already asked the question, hey, will you go out with me? You sit next to me and ask that, I think you're kind of pretty. Will you go out with me? And then you say yes, no, or maybe, and I got the dreaded maybe. So that anxiousness still continues to build up. That I want an answer to this question. I think we've all been in that scenario. Maybe it's, an invitation to prom, an invitation to anything. It takes a certain amount I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to ask someone. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to ask someone, and I'm going to wait for that response. It puts you in a little bit of, I think maybe as you're sitting here thinking of some of those feelings of your own, and maybe even if it was a proposal or that prom date or whatever it is, where you put yourself out there a little bit and you're waiting for that response, maybe that acceptance that you're hoping for. It takes strength and faith to do that, but a different kind. But there's another question that's very difficult to ask, but you put yourself out there in the same way. Society, will you go to church with me? Boy, that's a tough one to ask, isn't it? It's almost as nerve-invoking as that date. Because again, you've been friends with someone for a while, or maybe it's a coworker, or maybe it's someone you just know, and you put yourself out there again. Like, hey, you want to go to church with me? You're putting your faith out there. You're saying, hey, I believe enough. I love my God enough. I love my church enough. Come on, come with me. You put yourself out there, and then you have to anxiously await. Or you get the, maybe sometime, or, yeah, great. So, I thought I'd give us a great example of how you can invite someone to church, just to help us along the way here. So I got a little video of a great example to help each and every one of you of how you could invite someone to church with strength and faith.
Hey, what are you doing? Oh, burying your cat, Mr. Bootsy. I loved Mr. Bootsy. I guess you love Mr. Bootsy too, huh? Because he's your cat, or was your cat. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you come to church with me? Because all cats go to heaven, and if you go to church with me, you can find out what happened to Mr. Bootsy.
I don't think that's the way it works.
Yeah, I think it is. No, that's accurate.
I don't think it is.
That's what happens.
I don't think it does.
All cats go to heaven.
It's not the way it works.
Are you calling me a liar? do you want to go to church with me?
So maybe that isn't the best example, but I think there's all sorts of times that you can bridge that conversation and start having that. I always think about it as and those opportunities to start planting some seeds. We're going to have some unique transitions. One of the reasons that I'm getting the chance to be up here today, and we've had a variety of folks up here, is because we're getting very close to inviting, and hopefully hiring a new pastor at Heartland Community Church. And when that day comes, when that time comes, we need to have set the stage to get those people and invite people and get people connected and make Heartland the church that we believe it can be here in North Liberty. So we need to start planting some seeds now. Simple ways to plant seeds, maybe with some friends that you've been thinking about. I think we always have, I know I do, maybe one or two couples or families or friends that you always think about, like, gosh, I'd love for them to come to church with us. Or you got that coworker that you think, boy, I sure would love to connect them somehow. Start talking to them about church. Start sharing about the worship and the wonderful songs we get to hear on the morning. Put things out there on Facebook and Twitter and different things, and making those connections, planting those seeds, letting people come and check them out. Tell them about softball. That's pretty low-key, not too, threatening. It's just softball. And just start beginning to share your faith. As we start to get into this new endeavor of having a new pastor, we really need to look for these opportunities to plant those seeds so we can work with that individual to make Heartland what we'd like it to be. Here in a little bit, I'm going to share some updates about the pastoral kind of the search and where we're at, and some important times in Heartland Community Church. And I think it's important for each and every one of us that are sitting here today and folks that aren't here because of the holiday weekend, just to be thinking about how can we begin to plant those seeds? How can we begin to think of ways that we can support, hopefully, our new leadership? How can we think of ways and dedicate ourselves to ways to make this church what we think it can be, the impact it can have in this community? This last verse, I think, is fitting to all sorts of scenarios. It comes from Isaiah 41:10. And I think it fits into the scenario where you're asking someone at church, or maybe you're having a difficult conversation. Maybe you're just in a tough situation in your life. Or maybe if you're having that time where you're actually sharing your faith and you're worried what it might feel like. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And I think back to the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had to firmly believe this as they walked in to that fiery furnace without any debate, without any discussion. Like, all right, we'll be all right. We'll be okay. If people can do that, if there's stories of God supporting people and crazy things like that, we should be able to look and to see how can we support our church here. How can we reach out? How can we have that conversation and invite someone? And we always have to remember, fear not, for I am with you. God is with us. In all our situations, God is there. And we just need to believe that and have the strength and faith to trust in that to make it happen. Let's go ahead and pray. Dear God, just thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to meet this Sunday morning. Thank you for the independence that our country has, that we have the privilege and freedom to sit and to meet and to share our faith. Thank you, God, for these opportunities that we've been blessed with. And God, just be with our church as we're hitting a very important time. A time of transition, a time of excitement, a time that hopefully can put Heartland on the map. We're going to have an opportunity to meet a couple pastors, and we just hope that your hand is there with us in this decision, and they're with us in supporting finding that individual. And we just thank you, God, for all you bless us with, the opportunities you provide us with, and this wonderful celebration of a weekend that we've had. And be with us as we begin to plant some seeds and demonstrate our strength and faith. And putting ourselves out there a little bit. But believing that you are there with us. We just thank you, God, for all that you bless us with.